Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot lead. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. So today, I'm going to be showing you how to replace the EGR valve in your Mazda Millenia. And in today's project, you're going to need a 3/8 ratchet with a 12mm socket, a pick, a set of needle nose pliers, a flashlight definitely, and then you'll also want a new EGR valve and a new gasket. And this is actually the old one, but that's okay, you get the idea. With all that said, we'll go ahead and begin today's project. Okay guys, and this is the reason we're doing what we're doing today, replacing the EGR valve, because we have this P0400 code, and the primary reason for having the P0400 code is the EGR valve is going to be bad. Basically, we're going to have poor flow going from the exhaust back into the intake, and the main pathway determiner in the middle, the little ticket booth guy, so to speak, saying you're in or out, is going to be that EGR valve. So that is going to be our problem, and 90% of the time we're going to replace the EGR valve when we have this code. Sometimes we can get by with just cleaning the passageways, and that'll also get rid of this P0400 code for you. And I have already done the project and everything, so I'm going to go ahead and clear my codes. But now we'll move on with the rest of today's project. Okay guys, and the first thing we will want to do is go ahead and pop that hood. We're going to pop the hood here, and next we'll want to locate our EGR valve. And there it is, our EGR valve sitting right there. Okay guys, and before I show you on the car, I just wanted to kind of bring it over here. We got a good open space to kind of show you the obstacles we have. And we have 6 different obstacles. You just got to unplug this wire, undo this hose, undo these 2 hoses, and we got 2 bolts, 12mm bolts going in there. To kind of give you a tip on how to remove these hoses, you're going to want to take some needle nose pliers, grab onto the hose, be careful, twist, rock it back and forth like that, twist, so it'll break loose the connection that's really got on there. And we're going to apply this concept to all of them, and then we're just going to have a hose clamp. We'll pull the hose clamp down. The one on the inside is going to be the harder one. We're going to kind of have to reach and guess and kind of pull off, and then again you're just going to grab onto the hose, twist. You're going to, again, twist in this sort of motion to break the connection from the hose and the piece there. And then we'll just remove those 2 12mm bolts, and we'll pull our EGR valve off here. So now I'll take you over to the car and show you how it's actually going to play out on the car. Okay, and here's our EGR valve. And the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab a hold of this connector. I'm just going to squeeze, maybe push in a little bit. Push out. He's gonna be on there pretty good, so just squeeze and pull pretty hard, and then we'll just take him off and set him off to the side. And then we got, you can see this hose clamp right here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my pliers on there, and hopefully I'm not in your way too much. It's gonna be kind of tough for me to demonstrate this, but I'm just gonna squeeze. And I've got him now to where I can kind of show you. I moved him out of the way there a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of push him down there, and now he's out of our way. So the next thing you'll do is we're going to come in with our pliers. We're going to grab a hold of this hose, and you're just going to kind of grab him like that, and then you're going to rock him back and forth. Just be really careful not to puncture the hose. This is going to be a coolant hose. And so I'm just going to grab and twist. And once you've twisted and broken them loose, you'll just kind of be able to pull them off there pretty easy, because you'll broken loose that tough connection it's got there. Next, the inner one's going to be the more difficult, and you're just going to kind of want to look from this direction, and you'll be able to see a little bit there. And then I'm just going to reach back in there, and I repositioned it here a little bit so you can see a little bit better, but that other hose is right behind this wire. So what I'll do is I'm going to stick my hand underneath this AC thing. I'm going to reach it on in there. I'm sorry if I'm blocking it. And this is where the fun begins. Alright, I've got a hold on there. I'm just going to be super careful. And I've got them, because I don't want to lose that thing there. I'm just going to work on pulling them back. And once you've got them out of your way, you'll go ahead and do the same thing. You'll grab onto the hose and just twist it to kind of break that connection, and then we'll pull that hose off as well. And you may want to go ahead and put like a drain pan if any coolant does drip out, just so you can catch it. For me, there wasn't a whole lot of fluid that dripped out, so I'm not worried about it. And the next thing we'll move to is this other hose up here on the top. Okay guys, and here I just wanted to kind of have you recognize where I'm at, and I just wanted to show you I got both of those hoses off. There's number 1, number 2, you can see them. And so that inner one's really buried, so that's a good place where you can kind of see your hose clamp, so just keep that in mind as well. Alright, now, and I'm on the other side of the car now, and I'm just going to stick my pliers down here and grab a hold of this hose. And once I've got them good, I'm just going to twist them. And when you twist these hoses, you should hear a snap, and that'll let you know the connection is broken, and then it'll be easy to pull off after that. So I'll just go ahead and pull that hose off. And now all we've got left is those two 12mm bolts sitting there. I'll go ahead and loosen those and take those out, and you'll see this guy just kind of come right out, and we'll go ahead and put the new one in. Okay, and now it's time to go in and get to those bolts. I've got my 12mm socket and ratchet here. I'm just going to drop them right down in there. You can't see what I'm actually doing, but I just can't, literally I just can't show you exactly what I'm doing just for the sake of the logistics of the things here. So I just loosened up the one, and to be honest, I can't even see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of fishing for this other one. So for this other one, I'm coming to the other side because I can see him a little bit better. I'm just going to get on there. And he was not even that tight, so I got them both loosened. And now I'll just go ahead and take my socket here, and I'll just reach down in there. And sorry, I'm in the way. I'm just going to take this guy off. Once you get to the bolts, it doesn't take too long. I'm just going to take bolt number 1 and bolt number 2. And it's a really simple project. It's not buried like it is on some other cars. EGR valve. It's just a little difficult getting those two hoses off, especially that inner one can be a booger. So, got my back bolt off here, or so it seems. Still a couple threads on. And here we go. So I got that one bolt off there. Now I'm gonna grab the other one. And I know my arm's in the way. You're not seeing much here. I'll try and get it so you can see something. Down there. Oh, and I heard the gasket fall. So that's it. That's the EGR valve. And I'll take it out here, maybe talk about it for a second, and then show you how to put everything back together. Alright, so here's our old EGR valve, and here's the new one. You're just going to want to make sure everything looks exactly the same. So that's what I'm doing here. It says this one, oh, they're both Mitsubishi. So there we go, got some coolant falling out of the oil, and that's okay. And yeah, it all pretty much matches up here. And we've got two part numbers here as well, and they both match up. We got K5T5 989, they both match up there, so everything looks well. Got the same part, even the same KL47 thing there. So just make sure your electrical connectors and you have the same places for the hoses and that kind of thing. And once you've done that and you verified that you got the right part, we'll be ready to put everything back on. Make sure you got your new gasket, which I'll show you here in just a second. Here's our new gasket, and it actually came with two gaskets. I don't know why. I'm gonna tell you, do not put two gaskets on here. You're only gonna use the one. I can assure you that. If somebody can correct me on that and tell me why I'm wrong, I'll put an annotation link up. So just check in the comments to make sure. But for sure, I'm sure you're just gonna put the one on. Maybe since these are like just little thin pieces of metal, they give you two just in case one messes up on you. So just put the one gasket on here, and we'll make sure we get that gasket on, and then we'll install it with our new gasket. So now we'll go back to the car and see how this is gonna play out on the car. Okay guys, now I'm doing the best I can to get a shot of our guy down here. This is where your EGR actually came off, and you just want to make sure this gasket area is nice and clean, so the surface is going to be a clean surface for the new gasket and new EGR valve to go on. And also, you see I'm holding a pick here. You may just want to kind of stick the pick in those ports right there, just kind of clean them out, see if there's any kind of carbon buildup in there. You'll just want to use a pick maybe and kind of scratch some of that out, get that nice and clean. You can see some stuff coming out there, and then just kind of blow on it. So that's really all I got to say about preparing the surface for the new EGR valve. Okay, so we've got our new EGR valve. I'm just going to set my gasket on like that to where the flat part is at the top. And I'm just going to take my 2 bolts here. I'm going to stick them in there so that'll help hold on to it. And the camera may be a little fuzzy, but I've just got it so when I go ahead and zoom in for you, it's going to be nice and clear. So we've got them like that, so our gasket will set. Now I'll just hold them like that, and I'm going to work them down in here. And let me get you zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing here. And I'll pick them up. And I'm just going to come right over here, and this is going to be a pain. I'm going to be honest. The gasket's falling off, and I'd like to do this so you can see me doing it, but it just looks like physics are not going to let me do it here. It's not going to be allowed. Got my gasket back on, and yeah, I really can't show you me doing this other than you're just going to kind of have them sit in there like that, and then you'll go ahead and start those bolts, and I'll realign the camera and you'll see what I've got going on here in just a moment when I've got the bolts started. Okay, and once you've got both your bolts started, you're going to want to make sure that your gasket is looking good on both sides. Just make sure it's actually on there and you're not missing it, and then you can go ahead and run your bolts all the way down after you got them started and the gasket is looking good in there. So that's what I'm doing, and next here I'm going to tighten them up to a certain spec without the actual torque spec. So I've got them both run down there. I'm going to grab my ratchet. I got my ratchet here with my 12mm on the end of it, and you're going to watch how tight I tighten this up here. Now they weren't on there that tight, I'm assuming they were supposed to be tighter than that. So you can see I ran it down and it's now snugged. So that's snug, and this is aluminum, so we're going to be really careful. I want about a quarter of a quarter turn. Now I'm just going to right about there, so maybe a full quarter turn after you've snugged it. Just again, be really careful not to damage the aluminum it's going into, because you're gonna be looking at a very expensive fix if you mess that up. So just make sure not to do that. Again, I'm doing this other side, and just there when it feels like it's gonna stop and it doesn't want to go anymore. So that's all we're really gonna tighten it here on the both sides. And there we go. So you're gonna snug it and then tighten it till it feels like it doesn't want to go anymore. And if you're a bodybuilder, maybe that's a little bit less tight for you. So just keep in mind with the tool you're using and your strength. Again, you don't want to take a ratchet that'll touch this hood and do it until it'll stop, because you'll strip it before it stops. So that's about how tight you want it. Next, we're just going to take our little connector here, plug him in like so. He clicked in. Then I'll take my top little air hose here, wherever he may be. There he is. I'm going to stick him in. And then we've just got those 2 coolant hoses. So I'll show you that here in just a moment. And before I show you me putting it on there, I just want to show you, I was sticking for that inner hose, I was looking through this sight right here. So that's a good way to kind of judge how you're putting the hose back on when you're putting that inner one on. And also guys, you want to do it in one holding. You don't want to slip off that little hose clamp. So really take your time and just kind of slip it up on there, because then it's going to take you forever if you have to keep on getting your pair of needle nose pliers on there and putting it on there. So just really take your time and just kind of, even if you feel like it's going to take you 10 minutes, just really ease it on there, and it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, because you're going to spend a whole lot more time if you keep coming off it when it's getting close to the thing, and that can be done, and that's a better way to do it. So now I'll show you here in just a moment me getting that one you can see from this angle. Alright, so here I'm putting that last little hose on. I'm just going to grab a hold of them and slip them on there until I feel them hit the end of that piece, and then I'm going to grab my pliers, reach down there and get a hold of that guy and just slowly kind of ease up. I'm going to take my other hand and keep it closed. I was able to just get it on there really good, and there we go. And you're just going to want to make sure you get that clamp all the way back in there until you can feel it's where it was, and that's what I did. So there, we've got our 2 hoses on, your air hose over here, and your connector plugged on, and those 2 bolts tightened up. So that concludes today's video. Just make sure to reset your check engine light, because if you are replacing your EGR valve, you likely have that P0400 401 or something like that, some kind of code. So reset your code, turn your car on, drive it for a week or so, and if it doesn't come back on, then you fix your problem with that EGR replacement. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all my new videos, which publish Mondays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you then.